12 of the NFL. It's time to start thinking playoffs. We're so excited. The new monsters of the Midway clamp down again. What a game it was between Bears and Bucks. The Chiefs try to run over Tom Brady and the Patriots in a battle of 6 and 4s. Meanwhile, the Chargers looking up at Denver, trying to keep pace by winning in Washington. LT and the boys went OT. No brotherly love when the Pack invade Philly. Can the Cheeseheads melt the cheesesteaks? What a battle in Seattle. Leaders of the East and leaders of the West in the NFC collide. All that and a lot more on NFL Primetime.
NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Week 12 of NFL Primetime. Chris Berman along with Tom Jackson. Let us be, and I feel secure in saying this, the last to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great weekend watching football. And we hope to get some clues here on this last Sunday in November, especially some battle out west. But
I think we get a few clues, but I think the thing that you start to see this time of year is the sense of urgency from these teams as they start to make this final run toward the playoffs or run toward being a spoiler. Even if you're out of things, you can still play a huge role as far as who's going to be in, who's going to be out.
Well, two teams hoping to be in, a pair of 6 and 4 teams. Here we go to Arrowhead, the Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. Dick Vermeil and the Chiefs scored a lot of points last Sunday night. Tom Brady knows if they're going to win, it's going to be a scoring fest. But Brady says, you know what? I don't know about this Chiefs defense. What do you mean it's not improved? That's Jared Allen.
Jared Allen knocked down, gets back up. How many times have we called his name during the course of this season?
And we've called his name a lot. Certainly the last 3 weeks have been as good as they've been for Larry Johnson as a pro. Touchdown for Grandmama. 7-0 the Chiefs. And then a theme today, ball off the hands of Deion Branch from then picked off by Greg Wesley. Brady only had 6 picks coming into this game. That one would set up a field goal if the Patriots made a good goal line stand. Brady then picked off by Wesley. That one just sailed. Wesley returns it to the 25. That also a good goal line stand. And they did good red zone defense in the past to keep it within hailing distance, but still it's all Chiefs. And at 19-3 in the third quarter, Trent Green intended Freddie Kennison, but one of those young Patriots starting nowadays, Ellis Hobbs, pass interference, and what happens? He's upset, and you go right at him, and you go right for the jugular. Next play, great call, and it's gone. Dante Hall, 52 yards on the touchdown from Trent Green.
Yeah, and look at Hobbs right there. Such a small thing, adjusting that chin strap while the play's getting started. You don't get a chance to get a bump on Hall. He runs right by you, makes the catch downfield for a touchdown.
Patriots have got a touch, 26-10. Now Brady to Christian Euphoria, 26-16. They go for 2. They get 2. They'll be down by just 1 score. And Brady looking for somebody to be open. Pressure. Chiefs had so incomplete, and it's 26-16. About 7 minutes to go. Little screen pass to Johnson, and slips and gets drilled there by Eugene Wilson as well. Rolls very awkwardly. Bends his right knee backwardly, but would return later. So that'll look worse than it was, fortunately, for the Chiefs. Brady has another chance, but under 4 minutes to go. Picked off by Wesley, who had 3 on this day. The Patriots down 10, just trying to get it in there and then force an onside kick. Looking for Tim Dwight. Dwight has it out of his hands. Sammy Knight, good night. 4 picks, ties a career worst for Brady, albeit 3 of them tipped around. And the Chiefs beat the Patriots 26-16. Remember last year, Patriots won there on a Monday night at about this time of the year. But this time, Kansas City wins it. They're the team moving to 7 and 4. Johnson ran for 119 yards. 462 yards for the big fella, rushing the last 3 weeks. As we go inside the numbers, well, the Patriots, and you can see last year and this year, the Pats already in points allowed are over last year's number. And you see the turnover differential with today, of course, put that down to -10 to look. New England had, and I have to check today what it was. We had this morning, 41 different starters thus far this season. I don't mean Troy Brown in 3 different spots. I mean 41 different human beings starting thus far this season going into this game. The record is 42. It's not to make excuses, just the way it is. So many on defense. And so if Tom Brady's off, Tom, then it doesn't go so well.
You know, it's amazing as we watch the games, Boom. This is a team that really doesn't run the ball. Corey Dillon has not been healthy, so they don't have the ability to run and then play action off of it. Defensively, they've had so many people injured that it's very difficult for them to play run defense or pass defense. And if they're going to win, Tom Brady doesn't have to just be good. He has to be great in order for them to win games. And today, as other days, when he will have an off day, they will find it very difficult to win. Although 3 of those 4 picks, as you said, come off of tip balls. And Kansas City is going to make a run at one of those wild card spots. They're going to make a run for it.
They play Denver. They host Denver next week. And there's a game that they would like to say, hey, wait a minute, we're not in the division. New England, with the good graces, has a division in which they're the only team over 500. So they get a chance to kind of organize themselves a little bit. But on this day, it was Kansas City over 400 yards, and they had the game from start to finish. When we return on NFL Primetime, one of those teams looking up at Denver but trying to keep winning, take a division a wild card. The Chargers at Washington. That was a tough game. Speaking of tough, games going the distance, and then some. Giants Seahawks in the Pacific Northwest.
Inside the Numbers. Brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. With Visa's multiple layers of security, you're covered. NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. On your next beer run, grab some great-tasting, less-filling Miller Lite. Miller, good call. And in part by Chevrolet, an American Revolution.
Welcome back to Primetime. The Rams at the Texans. The Texans 1-9, the worst record of football. But on this day, David Carr and the Texans came out in the first half looking like they were over 500. To Andre Johnson. Can you believe it's his first touchdown all year?
That is amazing. Pro Bowler last year, first touchdown. Game 11 of this season.
And then Carr to Dominic Davis. Hey, it's 14-0 Houston over the Rams. And for Dom Capers, dom, 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 and they played some defense, too, on Jamie Martin. Remember, Bolger out. Martin making his 6th career start. And Glenn, they often call him Speedo, but his real name is Mr. Earl with the hit. And Deshaun roll out the barrel, Polk. And Martin has the barrel rolled out, concussion gone. Enter Ryan Fitzpatrick, 7th round draft pick from Harvard. And he's the first quarterback from Harvard ever to play in the NFL. Fitzpatrick, he's a smart one. To Torrey Holt, 19 yards. He led Harvard to a 10-0 season last year. Fitzpatrick down 27-17. 2.5 minutes to go. Tommy, this is his first snaps he's ever taken. Looks like he's been around.
You know, a guy who you know doesn't get very many reps, but very comfortable. He slides in the pocket right there. Great pass.
On 4th and 6, down by 10, he hits Isaac Bruce for 43 yards. So, the good hands team for Houston on the field. Bad news for Texans. They don't have 11 of them. And it goes out of their hands and into the hands of Torrey Holt. And so the Rams have scored. They get the onside kick. And Fitzpatrick goes back to Holt, from Harvard to Holt for 19 yards. And then, wouldn't you know it, 9 seconds to go, as the Swan predicted, Jeff Wilkins with the field goal up and good. And Houston had this game won 8 times over. Now we go to overtime, tied at 27 all. Houston has the ball. They actually drove, but naturally, Carr is sacked by Atogwe, and so they have to get rid of the ball. Now, Fitzpatrick comes in, sacked for almost the safety, but on 3rd and 9, look it up. He's throwing like he's been in the league.
Smooth.
That's the pass to Holt by 11, and then the swing over to Kevin Curtis, who's been involved in so many big plays, and he could go all the way. Oh my goodness gracious! The Rams trailing 24-3 at the half, rally with a guy that's never taken a snap in the NFL before, Ryan Fitzpatrick, He throws for 300. It's a great story.
You know, it's a great story, and Joe Vitt, the interim coach, allowing him to throw the ball on that last drive, very comfortable with his new quarterback, smartest quarterback, certainly in the history of the ball club.
And we certainly know this. We like him very much, but we hate to say it, Tom. Texans lose a brutal game. Then the 49ers and the Titans. Tennessee, they haven't won since October 16th. Steve McNair and company at home against San Francisco. And look, they're using Pac-Man Jones on offense. And Pac-Man, he's going to score. But like an earlier Tennessee touchdown, thanks for the sound effect, Tom, 2 Tennessee touchdowns called back, 1 San Francisco touchdown called back. You would expect that from teams way below 500. But down 14 on, the Titans get it right. McNair, those are like the salad days, avoiding the rush. Hits it to Chris Brown. Touchdown, 16-14 Tennessee. 80 seconds later, Titans have the ball again. McNair. He stares and then hits Roy Dell Williams for the 50-yard touchdown. The Titans up 23-14. No hemming or hawing about it. McNair still at it. To Aaron Kinney for a 4-yard touchdown. McNair, 343 yards. We remember that guy. The Titans beat the 49ers. 49ers come to play. They just don't have the talent. Tennessee wins 33-22 to snap a 5-game losing streak. When we return, big game among 7 and 3s. Bears, Bucks, you knew that points would be at a premium. And LT saved his best for last, and then some.
The Fantasy Ticker, brought to you by Chevrolet, an American Revolution.
Here we go with the Panthers and the Bills. J.P. Losman, they've been pretty good at home. They're coming up a horrid performance in San Diego. And Losman has time to throw, but Jordan Karstens is going to sack him. We know Carolina brings defense, although their winning streak snapped last week in Chicago. 3-man rush. Losman sacked 4 times.
You got to keep your eyes downfield. Don't be aware of the rush and get by that extra 4/10 of a second to deliver the football.
All field goals here. 9-6 Buffalo, fourth quarter, under 4 minutes to go. Jake, daylight come. You got it, Delhomme. Shampoos it out to Ricky Prohl for 24 yards. Delhomme to carry Colbert. That's a quickie, setting up 1st and goal at the 5. Then 3rd and goal from the 3 with about 2:20 to go. Delhomme to Michael Big House Gage. He beats Coy live wire on the play, and look at it, dreidel, he spins the ball, and it's make him do that.
Yeah, you watch the freeze off the reverse. They lose coverage right there, safety late coming over. Easy pitch and catch, quarterback, wide receiver.
And so the one touchdown of the game gives Carolina a 13-9 lead. Now, minute to go in the game, 1st and 10 Buffalo. They're up to Carolina's 43. Under pressure, oh man, almost picked off by Will Witherspoon. But if that's not bad enough, 2 plays later with 47 seconds left, Losman, and it's going to be another Buffalo Losman. Chris Gamble with the pick, and the Panthers, they don't look good doing it, but they beat the Buffalo Bills 13-9. They won for the 8th time in 11 games. They're hosting Atlanta next week, so they're in good position. Meanwhile, the Bills have lost 4 of 5, despite the fact they held Steve Smith to only 3 catches. Defense playing all right, but you're not going to win, score 9 points.
Yeah, and a win is a win is a win, but certainly if you're Carolina, you feel like you're a championship ball club, possibility of, and yet you're sneaking past some games that you feel like you should play better.
Well, 13 points can be a magic number, and Carolina knows, because last week they saw the Chicago Bears roll up 13 on Carolina, and Panthers weren't even in the game. The Chicago Bears rolling at 7-3 in first place in the North Division into Tampa, another team that packs the defense, another 7-3 team playing well the last couple of weeks. Here we go with one of our prime cuts from the new sombrero as Chris Sims. Very early in the game, and there's that front wall that had 8 sacks last week, Tom. Alex Brown, the strip. Tommy Harris on the ball at the 1-yard line. How much more can the defense do? And so here's the 1-yard drive from Kyle Orton to John Gilmore. 7-0 Chicago, right out of the gates.
Yeah, you take what you can get, and then you watch Mark Jones.
Bang!
and he is jacked up right there by Todd Johnson.
And
boy,
so
that'll wake you up. That's a
the hitting. Now, we talked about 8 sacks all by the front 4, although they rotate 6, 7, 8 in there. How about today, Tom, front wall of the Bears?
Well, Alex Brown just getting it on. Power rush from the outside. Then again, here he comes. Just watch the pressure. Had a lot of balls batted down by this front 4 today. They get their hands up when they can't get to the quarterback. And then your Chris Sims, again, Alex Brown coming around. You try to spin out. You run right into another sack.
So the Bears have busted it to 13-3, and for them, that's a bust. Sims under pressure. It's Dave Moore for the first down. Sims, hey, here was crunch time, and he delivered. 10 minutes to go, 3rd and 3. Sims to Alex Smith gets a first down. And later in the drive, new sound effects for one of our favorites from the 2-yard line. What? Mike, you're in good wings with Allstott. And it's 13-10. Just over 5 minutes to go. Sims to Joey Galloway, and he turns it into big plays.
He hasn't slowed down at all in this league. He can still really run.
And then Sims to Galloway. Joey, it's been since 98 that he's got to the 1,000-yard mark receiving. Congratulations for him. A big season for him at Tampa Bay. 3rd and 2. The Bucs with 3 minutes to go. Sims looking to pass, throws it away because it's only a 29-yard field goal attempt for Matt Bryant, and the Bucs will have come from 10 down to tie the game, but it's wide right. Bryant, can you imagine a field goal in Tampa going wide right? I can't remember one, Tom. It's up, and it's just no good. John Lovie Smith, he'll help the ref call it. John Gruden, well, maybe we get another chance. But the Bears start it with sacks, and they end it with sacks. Adewale Ogunleye, he had 2 sacks. Brown had 2 sacks. Lovie Smith, one-time assistant in Tampa under Tony Dungy, learned his defense well. The Bears have won 7 in a row. They beat Tampa Bay 13-10, so they're 8-3. The Bucs fall to 7-4. Last winning streak by Chicago, 7 games in a row, would be 1986. That was a long time ago. That was obviously when Mike Ditka was coaching the Bears the year after they won the Super Bowl. Something we didn't show in the highlights that I think is also symbolic of the way the Bears play. Orton threw a pick, but it was like a long pass down to the 5-yard line.
Punt, like a punt.
Out of bounds. Stop him, timeout, stop him, timeout, stop him, timeout. Punt. Oh, we drive about 20 yards, get a field goal. They get 13 points, Tom. 8 times the Bears have allowed their opponent 13 or less. It's automatic the way they play D.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about the front 4, but it's complete defense. They play it at every single level. That's our extra point for tonight. This team playing the pure style of defense. We're going to begin up front. Watch Alex Brown spot shadow right there. He's going to come around the corner. You try to block him with a tight end, Anthony Beck right here. He comes in, he bull rushes him. That sets up the initial touchdown for the Chicago Bears. Then watch the safety, rookie Chris Harris here. Takes a direct route to the football. He's going to make the back, make a move. Watch Brian Urlacher. Nobody better than him coming across, making a play. And then again, watch the right side of this defense. Ball carrier off the left side. Everybody force the ball out. Pursuit, Urlacher. Nathan Vasher collectively making that play on the outside.
Urlacher had like 3 shots at that tackle, didn't he?
Urlacher completely just washing himself down the line till he gets to the football. But the thing is, you got this defense now playing with a lot of confidence, swarming to the football. Front 4 playing great. Linebackers playing great. They're healthy. Again, we said it before. In January, this team gets to the playoff. You do not want to go to Soldier Field or maybe anywhere else and have to play this ball club.
They were 1-3. Remember Grossman went down in the summer? Orton, a middle round draft pick, a rookie quarterback, defense, Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Yeah, a long time ago. And Orton, I won't use the word manager, but he certainly knows how to execute the quarterback position so that they get a chance to win games.
Even throw an interception at the right time.
That's right.
And the Bears are 8-3. But they're not the only team in the division. We made fun of the Norris division. There's somebody else over 500, and surprise, Minnesota was looking at it. Skins, Chargers go the route and then some.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Browns the Vikings. Romeo Crennel's Browns have won as many games as Cleveland did last year. That's 4. But the story here is Minnesota, who have won 3 in a row with Brad Johnson, and their defense now feeling it. C.J. Mosley hits Trent Dilfer. Fumble! Darian Scott recovers. The Vikings in business at the Browns' 35-yard line. Hey, Minnesota was 3-1 at home coming in. Brad Johnson to Cuckoo-Cachoo. Marcus Robinson, the big fella. 15 yards, 10-0 Vikes. He sails on into the crowd. Now, in the third quarter, Dilfer fakes a reverse. Keith Newman says, "What me worry?" Fumble! E.J. Henderson falls on it. Vikings in business at the 18. So Brad Johnson to Marcus Robinson. 15 yards, nobody up the middle, and it's 17-3. Dilfer sits down with a knee injury. The youngster, the rookie from Akron, the Zips, Charlie Fry in. First play. He feels like a small fry. Picked off by Darren Sharper. The one-time Packer. Signed with the Vikes. You're wondering, what is he doing? Well, here's what he's doing. Return to the 32. So again, a short field for Minnesota. And once again, it's Johnson to Robinson. They won a couple weeks ago against the Giants with all the returns. Here the defense sets him up on short field. And Brad Johnson, who played with the Vikings in the early 90s when Mike Tice was a tight end, is now 4-0. They win 24-12. Tom, they're 6-5.
Yeah, and we're not going to talk X and O and talk statistics, but it seems like a long time ago that the Minnesota Vikings were struggling. Now they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
I don't know. That's why they play all the games. As somebody said, they had 3 picks and 5 sacks in that game. Well, the San Diego Chargers certainly have as tough a schedule as we've seen. This the 4th time this year. They have a 5th one coming at Indio, by the way, that they traveled to the Eastern time zone to play a game. They had lost a tough game in Philadelphia. They had won a game at New England. They won a game at the Jets. And this time, they were very tough until recently defensively. Washington Redskins, a team at 5-5, also thinking playoffs. Prime cut. Here we go. Marty Schottenheimer, like Norv Turner, who went in a week ago, a coach fired by Daniel Snyder. This time it's Schottenheimer's turn to maybe come back to Washington and get a win against the Redskins. And if you want to win, it helps to use this guy, LaDainian Tomlinson, down 3-0. Touchdown, 1 yard, 7-3 Chargers. Now, Antonio Gates came in with a little heel injury. Drew Brees came in hot. The two of them didn't sync up, Tom.
Yeah, Antonio Gates so reliable, but you see right here, Brees delivering the ball to him right around the first down marker, and Antonio Gates 3 times right there just couldn't hang on to the football.
No, Mark Brunell, second quarter, down 7-3. This duo to him to Santana Moss was good early, quiet for a while. They're back at it, 22 yards, 10-7 Skins. Then LT, the Chargers down 17-10. They were down 17-7. Caden kicked a long field goal, 3 tough yards for LT, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons rushing. You want more? 1st and 10 at the 32. Tomlinson outside, and with 3.5 to go, he's going to tie the game on a 32-yard run. We're tied at 17. San Diego comes from down 10 on the road. Still in the 4th. Oh, Brees' pass tipped by Marcus Washington. Sean Springs makes the pick, his first of the season. But Washington, a minute to go, in business. Clinton Portis to the 22, but a key holding penalty cost him 10 yards. So now 2nd and 14 at 35. San Diego's defense stuffs him right there. 3rd and 14 at the 35 again. John Hall says, give me a few more yards. Brunell shakes, has to throw it out of bounds. Now Hall has the leg, but it's a 53-yarder because of the penalty in the defense to win the game, and it's no good. It's no good. Hall bummed, Gibbs bummed, Wade Phillips, Marty Schottenheimer thrilled. Final play of the quarter. Final play of regulation. Brees, what do you do?
Knock it down!
Oh, but it's in the... Ooh, Walt Harris picks it.
That's why you knock it down.
Well, it goes to overtime now. Chargers with the ball. Brees. Now he hits Gates. Rumbling, bumbling, not stumbling. For 24 yards, a big pickup. Next, guess who? From the 41, Tomlinson left guard. What? The stiff arm. He's gone. He could go all the way. An overtime touchdown run by the best back in football, LaDainian Tomlinson. And the Chargers, down 10 on the road, win a huge game. 23-17 San Diego. They started out with such a rough slate, but now the Chargers have won 4 in a row, so 3-4 is now 7-4. Afterwards, Tomlinson says, happy to get this one.
I think it's a credit to all the guys that kept fighting when things really didn't look too good for us. It was such an awesome feeling. I'll tell you when, got through there and was open field, and I looked up at the jumbo screen, and, I seen somebody chasing me, but I felt like he was just a little bit too far back, and I'll tell you, the thrill of knowing that we're going home with a victory, coming back like we did, I mean, it was just incredible.
And going, how good a back? I'm looking up. Oh, somebody's chasing me. I'll run a little. 184 yards from the Chargers. Have a couple of home games coming up. Look, they're all looking up at Denver. That's a big win for San Diego,
yes,
who's had their share of tight games, Tom.
Well, I think that's the key. When you talk about San Diego, you think about the Steelers, you think about the Cowboys, you think about the game against the Broncos that they were leading 10-0. It's about time you feel that San Diego win one of these games that could have gone either way. You get a game into overtime and you give it to LT, you're going to get good results.
And for the Redskins, whose season started out 3-0, they are now 5-6 and fallen in what's very competitive on the top. The NFC East, although the teams on top, Dallas lost on Thanksgiving as well. When we return, Giants had a day fair at Seattle, speaking on top of the NFC East, and Ravens Bengals. So much for that hangover after the Colts loss against Baltimore. They made all the putts. Visa Skycam gets you ready for Sunday Night Football. The Jets and the Saints. Woohoo! Saints' second home game in the Meadowlands. Cincinnati Bengals and here's Carson. We have a Carson and a McMahon now playing quarterback in the NFL at the same time. And look at this, The Tonight Show during the day. Chad Johnson, 54 yards, and it's a left-to-right break, and he makes the putt for the extra point. Tom, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's Dale Carter at the bottom of the screen. We talk about getting a bump on a wide receiver. When you let a wide receiver out the gate like he just did, Chad Johnson, no safety help coming over, that is as easy a pitch and catch as you will find quarterback wide receiver.
The assault continues against Baltimore. You say Houshmandzadeh.
I say Houshmandzadeh.
And TJ, that's Tom's brother, catches a touchdown. That's Palmer to TJ Houshmandzadeh. 9 catches for 147. It's a rout, 34-7. But Baltimore finally starts scoring. Kyle Bowler to Todd Heap, 34 yards, 34-14. 15 seconds later, beginning of the fourth quarter. And did you remember really that he was playing? We haven't said this since what? 2000 what?
Prime time. Prime time. Prime time.
Prime time. Fumble time. Dion with a pick. It was just good to say it. He's just running up the field, makes the plays. Now, 34-14, Jamal Lewis. It's a 5-yard run. Now, wait a minute. The Ravens have scored 20 points this year for the first time. First time they're the last team to do it. Scored 34-21. The Bengals end all the foolishness with Rudy. He had 114 yards, 2 touchdowns. Cincinnati wins it 42-29. Oh, by the way, ho-hum, 22 of 30, 302, 3 touchdowns for Carson Palmer.
Yeah, typical day for Carson Palmer. Typical day for the Bengals offensively.
Bengals a half-game lead up on Pittsburgh, who, of course, play at the Colts Monday night, and the Bengals play at the Steelers next Sunday in a huge game. Meanwhile, don't tell anybody, Jacksonville moving along quietly toward the playoffs, and you haven't seen this all year? After 31 straight field goals, Neil Racker's unimpressive. For the first time all year, he misses a field goal. He's human. Good to see. Byron Leftwich, tackled by a guy that's really made his mark from the safety spot, Adrian Wilson, but fortunately made his mark on Leftwich, left the game with a sprained ankle. Garrard comes in, David Garrard. 2nd and 14, Garrard. Hey, he can move it into the shadows and into the end zone. Touchdown, 7-0, Jacksonville. Leftwich does not return. Report on him later. Late in the third quarter, it's 10-3. Derek Wimbush. He's going to bounce outside, breaks tackles at midfield, and Wimbush city limits. He could go all the way. 91 yards. Jag special teams. 17-3. Jacksonville. 17-10. Greg Jones playing for the injured Fred Taylor. Look at this man.
It's a great run up the middle. Great blocking by the offensive line.
24-10. Kurt Warner rolls out. He's hit from behind. Bumbo! And the Jags recover. And Jacksonville, 4 in a row. They're up to 8-3. They got a game at Cleveland next week, which is their third straight road game. But other than a game at home against the Colts, they do not play anyone with a winning record. Jacksonville wins 24-17. Sprained ankle. Don't know how long he's out, but it's certainly not a severe injury. Sprained ankle for Leftwich, so they dodge a bullet.
Yeah, and dodge a bullet. And I think that Leftwich, not to say that he's going to be back, but boy, he's as tough as they come, and I would suspect that he's going to get back in the lineup much sooner than anybody would expect.
When we return on NFL Primetime, 2 playoff teams from a year ago just trying to get a win. Philly and Green Bay in the city of brotherly love. And it went deep into overtime in Seattle between the G-Men and Seahawks. One of the classiest players in the NFL who won the rushing title last year at 31 years young, Curtis, my favorite, Martin. And you know what? He didn't play high school football until his senior year when he rushed for 1,705 yards, 29 touchdowns at Taylor Allardyce High School Dragons. Outside of Pittsburgh, voted City League Player of the Year, Curtis Martin. He looked good then.
Primetime Flashback, brought to you by NikeGridiron.com. You are watching NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime. The Dolphins at the 8 is evoking memories of some great games past. This would not be one of them. Gus Frerotte, under center for the Dolphins, hitting to Brian Gilmore, 45 yards. That's a good-looking play. Dolphins lead 7-0 in Oakland. Oakland won at Washington last week. You figured they get something going. And Lamont Jordan gets going in the air in the end zone. He had 97 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 all. Dolphins lead 14-7. Raiders at their own 1. And look out! Jason Taylor with the safety. Defensive player, you love it.
But you look at the play, and you look at the long play fake where the quarterback's going to go 6-7 yards deep into the end zone when you absolutely know that you have to block Jason Taylor. Nobody does. He gets to Kerry Collins, who curls up and safety.
But the Raiders have scored, make it 16-14 until Frerotte to Randy McMichael late third. Oh, man, what a play. Gets in the end zone, 23-14. Raiders ball now. Constantly coming from behind. Collins. Look at the nimble one. Look at Kerry Collins. Safe. Touchdown. 18 yards. 23-20 when actually was a pretty good game. But Miami salts it away. Ricky Williams. And seriously, didn't he go to the holistic thing not far from Oakland? I'm not being funny. He did, right?
No, I think so.
And he feels good in the area. That looked like the old guy. 34-yard touchdown. Miami wins it 33-21 to snap a losing streak. Ricky Williams, 82 yards rushing. Ronnie Brown ended 58.
Yeah, and 2 teams that are going to play spoiler as they go down the stretch.
Both teams are 4-7. 2 teams that won divisions last year. Their role is pretty much to play spoiler. Mike Sherman and the Packers. Andy Reid and the Eagles. Sam Khan and Gatto we trust. What? Makes the move on Brian Dawkins. And look at the Nigerian Nightmare number 2 with a 33-yard touchdown, 10-7 Philly. But look at the play by Gatto.
Dawkins, one of the best safeties in this league, gets a little low. Gatto, a great job of spinning out of the tackle and going on into the end zone.
Still 10-7 and Brett Favre for Bubba Franks. Franks is hit by Brian Dawkins in this very scary. Franks stayed down. And the good news is that X-rays negative. His head collided. A very scary moment as he clearly shaking everybody, hoping that he's okay, because it's such a, we don't have to tell you how scary a moment it is. And there's the extremities. He shows that he's okay, and thank goodness. Staying in a hospital in Philadelphia as a precaution, but he's expected to be okay. As McNabb looks on, it's McMahon. Mike McMahon played okay last week in the loss to the Giants. Scramble for 9. Eagles kick a field goal up 16-14. Andre Thurman on the return. Ryan Moats knocks it loose. The rookie. And Moats recovers. Leads to a field goal. 19-14 Eagles. Ball in the 50, less a minute to go. Favre to do a couple of interesting passes in this game. Goes for it. It was right there, but triple coverage on Robert Ferguson. That's Roderick Hood at Green Bay. You know, the Green Bay Packers are 2-9. They've still scored more points than they've allowed. I know that's odd. That doesn't. But it's the first time since Brent Favre has been with Green Bay since 91. He's been there since 92. That they will have a losing record, and Philly ends a 4-game losing.
Yeah, Eagles break that losing streak. You look at McMahon's numbers. Those are not winning numbers, but look at the 180 yards rushing. People said this team could not run the football. They are now running the football.
Bonnie Toomer. Tom, they drove right up the field.
Yeah, and you look right here, the foot in and the foot in.
Touchdown. 21-19, they go for 2. Jeremy Shockey catches it. And the Giants, so much for them not showing poise on the road. Down by 8, they drive right up. Seattle is the team. Not convincingly, but they wins count. And now they're 9-2. The Seahawks remain unbeaten at home. They've won 7 in a row as they win it in overtime. And they will take a gift. And look, they dodged, but the Giants showed a lot of poise to me. Seattle, I thought, up 8, missed an opportunity, Tom, to put the clamps down. I was surprised with how quickly the Giants drove up the field. That's the type of game you got to salt away if you're going places. Agree?
Yeah, and I agree. And I think that Coach Holmgren will look at this team and he won the football game, but he's got a lot of things that he can point out to his football team and say, we can improve on this. I thought that the key really was Sean Alexander. When Sean started to run in the second half, you saw a different mentality from this ball club. And when you get the complete game from him, which they have on almost every occasion this year, I think they're a different team. But we still find ourselves looking for that dominant team in the NFC, not just